Hey, band directors, it's Dwayne Huff, Band Leadership Seminars, Band Leadership Online. I hope you're having a phenomenal 2019. And I wanted to go live today, give you a few things that will help you starting right now, since we all know that leadership is year round, and the better that we can empower and develop the student leadership starting right now throughout concert season and really prepare them way before marching band season. It'll be even stronger and better. So I wanted to share a couple of things with you that you can do starting right now to plant those seeds, nurture, water those seeds, and make your program even stronger than it already is. And so before I do that though, if you would like to work with me live this year, this is the time to jump in. Because I have 20 slots for 2019. Actually, I don't have 28 of them are already taken. So they're going fast. Please, if that's you, reach out to me, send me a message, or go to bandleadershipseminars.com. But anyway, so let's talk about three things that you can do, three big things, and I'll dive a little bit deeper into them and share a little bit of how it's been working in other programs that I've been working with to kind of give you some context. But the first thing that I want to share with you is, well, let me just do three. There's three things. Number one, set expectations. I've got notes to myself here so I don't forget. Set expectations. Number two is self-awareness, and others awareness is something that we need to lay the foundation and educate the students on. And then finally, number three is sources of conflict. And so let me dig into each one of those separately, and I might have to get my glasses on to do this. By the way, if you're a student leader and you happen to see this video, you're welcome to watch this too, because this will give you an insight into kind of the direction. This has been feedback from band directors in the last 7 years. I've been traveling the country, working with them live, virtually, in my online course, all that stuff. Any of that stuff that you want or you want to know more about, bandleadershipseminars.com. In fact, if you're watching this, drop that URL in the comments if you would for me, bandleadershipseminars.com. And if you get value from this video, give it a thumbs up. Share it with somebody who also needs to hear it. Tag a colleague or a band director in it, because this will serve them and their program. But number one, setting expectations. You know, it's the funny thing is that students, and this is no dig on students, it's just where they are in their developmental process, is that I hear from band directors all the time, Dwayne, you know, how do I get my students to take initiative? How do I get them to think about the team versus just their self? How do I get them to be consistent? How do I get them to carry the right attitude? How do I get them to this, to that, to anything? And the answer to that is very simple, though it's not easy. And the answer is set expectations. Let them know in no uncertain terms exactly what you expect. But here's a better way to do that. Help them or involve them in the setting of expectations, expectation setting process, because there's a very strong old adage that says people support what people help create, and teenagers are no different. And if you're a college band director watching this too, the same thing applies to you. I mean, you may have a chapter of Kappa Kappa Psi at your disposal, and that's beautiful for leadership, but there's no reason that the other band members in your band couldn't and shouldn't be leaders, because it can only help and make your team stronger. But involve your students in the setting of expectation process. All right. And so here's a couple of things that you should share with them, and take inventory. Let's begin with the end in mind, as Stephen Covey is known for saying in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Let's begin with the end in mind, and you take an inventory of the things that you expect, need, and want for your program to function the way that you want it to program. So function. So if there's a certain behavior, if there's a certain skill set, if there's a certain process that you need your student leaders to help with or to show up and do in their roles as section leader, band captain, any part of the band council, drum major, whatever it is, set those expectations, even if it's to write them down. But if you can, bring them into the process. And here's the premise. You can teach them and help them to see the value in the expectation, but also call them to leadership by saying, hey guys, not only are you leaders, but one of the greatest calls to leadership is to develop future leaders so that you can leave a legacy for the band. And in order to do that, here's some of the things that we need to do and set the expectation. I'm looking at my notes here. Forgive me for not looking directly. I'm looking at my notes. So a couple of things that come up with band directors is, how do I get my kids to have the right attitude? When I do live seminars, or if I, in my band leadership online program, I talk about attitude. We talk about the 3 components that go into attitude, which is what we see, the visual, how we say what we say, which is the what they call the vocal, and the words we use, which is the verbal. And there's a study done back at UCLA, 1980 something, Albert Mehrabian study. You can look it up if you want to. And basically, the numbers that come down to what we trust, believe, and perceive as someone's attitude, 55% of that is what we see, 30% is how they say what they say, and 7% is the words that they use. And so when I share that with student leaders and with band directors, it's very eye-opening, because they realize that even if they have the best intention in their heart, sometimes they show up and what they're putting out or putting forth is not communicating the same thing. So making the students aware that attitude is a key component, that it's infectious, that it's contagious, and not empowering them with the components to understand what their attitude is kind of leaving them to fend for themselves and figure it out for themselves. And that's not going to get you the result you want. So set those expectations and maybe share that. Another thing I have on here is take an initiative. Guys, if your students grew up in a household, in a family where they're like me, I was an only child. I was never forced to or asked to or required to take initiative on anything, and so taking initiative for me was like, what is that, right? So simply impress upon your students, as you set an expectation, that initiative is doing the right thing without waiting to be told. And then pull up a chalkboard or a whiteboard or a piece of flip chart paper and just ask them, hey guys, take a look around the band room. Think about the time you get here to the time you leave. Think about your own lives. Think about the things that get done on a daily basis. And in hindsight, look, what are some of the things that are the right things to do that you should probably do without being told? I do this with my kids. It's not taking yet, but I do it with my kids. And instead of telling them what to do all the time, I ask them, hey, what did we do last time? So what should we do this time? Where do we find that? Where do we get that? You have 2 options. What's the better one? And if you have a conversation about initiative in a collective group of leaders or potential leaders, you'll see that they start to come up with their own ideas, and they become self-aware. And then you can direct and guide. You can pull them back as you need. Oh, wait, we don't want to take initiative on that. Let me handle that. Or, hey, that's a good idea. What else can we take initiative on? So setting expectations is the first thing, right? And I do all of this in my online course and live when I come out to work with your students. I even have a brand new program. It's not brand new, but it's a virtual seminar where you get my online course free for lifetime with the investment of the virtual seminar, where I spend 3 hours just like this with you and your students on a designated date, and then I teach. And then I ask the questions, or I answer the questions, and then you get my program. So any of that, if you want to do that this year, go to bandleadershipseminars.com. Again, if you're watching this, drop that in the comments for me if you would. I don't want to push anything and mess it up. My technical savvy isn't as sharp as it probably seems. So that's number 1, set expectations. Number 2, and again, this whole message is about you developing your student leaders, starting right now and planting those seeds and water them and nurture them, so that whenever marching band season comes up, you guys are ready to go, they're ready to go. The second component of that is self-awareness and others awareness. Guys, the reason that these students are having such a difficult time leading their peers is because they don't realize on many levels. Oh, they probably realize it, but they don't think about it in the moment. They don't realize that all of their peers don't approach things, think things, believe things, understand things, receive things the way that they do. But they're approaching their peers the way that they see it, the way that they believe it, the way that they want it. And what happens is a natural clash and a misunderstanding. And if you can simply begin to educate them on the different behavioral styles of personalities that people have. I have a great video, free video actually recorded. If you want that, send me a message or drop in the comments drop in the comments behavioral video, and I will send you a link to that if you want that, if you haven't gotten that yet. Another place you can go is to bandleadershiponline.com. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see I have 3 videos there. The first one, video number 1, is the behavioral styles. But you got to start to educate your students on how they're wired, how their peers are wired, and then impress upon them that it's no longer effective, and it's not going to be effective as a leader if they approach people the same way all the time. Every single person is not the same person. And if they don't understand who they are, how they wired, how they think, what motivates, what drives them, how they like to be talked to, how they like to be led, and they don't realize that about the other people, then they're going to clash every single time. And that's where the drama and the friction and the conflict arise. So the third thing I would share with you is this. So the first thing was set expectations. The second thing is self-awareness and others awareness, and we can never do too much of that. And the final thing, I'm looking at my notes again here, is sources of conflict. You got to educate your student leaders on the things that are going to cause conflict and drama, okay? First of all, drama with teenagers. The thing that's going to cause drama with teenagers is teenagers, okay? But if they understand some of the things that can get under the skin, can aggravate, can challenge, can frustrate the people around them, then they will be aware of the pitfalls and hopefully be able to avoid it. And it's not just a one-time conversation, it's a constant renewal and refreshing of that, but teach them about the things that will cause conflict. I do a whole list of these in the live seminar and in my online course, but here's something you can teach them right now. One thing that's going to cause conflict is misread cues from somebody who is wired differently than them. So I'll give you an example. You've got some people who will walk into a room or into a rehearsal. They'll walk right up to a person and say, look, here's what we need to do. They won't say hello. They won't say, how was your weekend? They won't say, how have you been? They're not about personal. They're about, let's get right down to it. And it seems like they're getting in their face. Well, if they don't understand that about the person, they're going to take it offensively. And all of a sudden it causes drama and conflict. Another type of person to understand and look out for is a person who's constantly asking questions. The questions are incessant. They can never get enough of question. People roll their eyes in class when they ask questions. But we have to understand that those people are inquisitive, they're analyzing, and they're very accurate people. And if we will simply give them enough information and the details they need, they will collaborate and work in peace with us and making our job as a leader very easy, right? So we have to begin to help our students understand what causes conflict. Another thing that can cause conflict is people demanding, requesting, asking or insisting of their peers that they do something without giving them a reason why, or telling them we're doing this because, or I'm asking because. There's a book, Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, and they did a study in that book. They wanted to understand what caused people to comply and what caused them to resist. And I'm summarizing here, so check the book out, it's really good. But basically what they said is that anytime a request, a demand, a suggestion was made to a group of people and there wasn't a reason given, here's why or because, compliance to that request, that demand, or that suggestion was only 10%. But the moment that a reason, be it insignificant or significant and real, was added to that, compliance went up to 90%. And so if your students understand that, and that by not providing that, it can cause conflict, then guess what? They see another pitfall. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Share this with a peer. Tag a peer in the comments below. If you're not a band director and you're watching this, this could serve that band director in educating and developing a student. So please tag them in it or share this with it. If you liked it, give it a hearts up. If you're on my Band Leadership Seminars page, like it so you can see when I go live again and answer some more of these questions. And if you as a band director would like me to work with you and your students live this year, go to bandleadershipseminars.com. And there's plenty of options there, but we only do 20 of these a year. 8 are already spoken for. Don't wait. Make that happen today. There's an application you can fill out there. And if you have any questions, this is the most important part. Any questions about developing your leaders, this is the time to ask. Drop it in the comments. If you're not watching this live, or if you're watching it live, drop it in the comments. And I will circle back because I'm going to be going live consistently starting right now and throughout this year, all the way up until March of Man season, and even then. But I can't serve you to the best of my ability if I don't know exactly what it is that you would like help with. I'm here to serve. I'm all about servant leadership, and that's what I teach your students. And in that spirit, I want to serve you. Let me know what you need. Drop it in the comments, and we'll talk soon. If you haven't reached out to me, go to bandleadershipseminars.com, and that's the place to connect with me, ask me questions, or reach out to me for anything I can help you with. And remember, you can inspire superior performance. It starts with empowering your leaders, and it starts with educating them on setting expectations and helping them become self-aware and others aware, and then helping them resolve that conflict before it even arises so that your program can operate smoothly like a well-oiled machine. Have a great day, guys. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.